So culture eats strategy for breakfast because, strategy, as important as that is, your culture at the end of the day drives it because, there's going to be times where the winds come and the storms come, the challenges come, and you need to be able to pivot, change your strategy. But at the end of the day, your core belief does not change. And that's your why. For us, as creating memorable experiences, we don't ever stray from that, no matter what's going on or comes our way.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Private Club Radio Show, where we give you the scoop on all things private golf and country clubs, from mastering leadership and management, food and beverage excellence, member engagement secrets, board governance, and everything in between, all while keeping it fun and light. Whether you're a club veteran just getting your feet wet or somewhere in the middle, you are in the right place. I'm your host, Denny Corby. Welcome to the show. I'm excited for this episode. I get to chat down with GM PGA Professional of the Year, GM of Chenal Country Club in Arkansas, Casey Smith, and it's a fun chat. We talk about the process and him receiving the award and honor for PGA of the Year and what that all represents. And weirdly enough, that happened a bunch here in the episodes where there's a lot of really good PGA professionals coming up and becoming very strong general managers. So I'm actually excited there's a lot of that happening here on the episodes here on the channel. Totally unintentional. We talk about his journey, his story so far. A lot of it is talking about culture and how to get buy-in from the staff and why that's so important, and how the buy-in and the culture drives effective and really good decision making. If I had to go back and think about the episode, it's emphasizing a lot on adaptability, trust in leadership, trust in your people, and putting the right seats on the right bus. We also touch on him working for a privately owned club, not a member-owned club, what some of those differences are there as well. And I think just with a lot of episodes, a lot of strong leaders and people in leadership management and who want to become something, want to be a person of service, of hospitality, of giving. It's, continuous learning and building strong team culture relationships with your team, with your people, as well as in the industry. So really cool, really fun episode. Private Club Radio listeners, let's welcome to the show General Manager, Chenal Country Club, PGA Professional of the Year, Casey Smith. PGA Professional of the Year. What's the process like to get that? What does it take? How many people do you apply, or people recommending you? How does that all work?
Yeah, so that's nominated by your peers. The PGA of America is split up into 41 different sections. And at that time, I was in what was called the Dixie section. It is now it's a mouthful now. It's the Alabama, Northwest Florida section. So that's it's all of Alabama and then the Florida Panhandle. And so nominated by your peers. And once you're nominated, it's chosen amongst a special award committee, basically. And so in that section, there were, 300 or so or more professionals. And so it was quite an honor to be nominated, number one, and then to be chosen. And that certainly is the, highest honor you can be bestowed as a PGA golf professional and at the section level.
Really? That's the creme de la creme.
It is, yes. Quite an honor. Do
you get to add any extra letters onto your name now?
PGA is definitely a badge we wear proudly and put on the email signature, and so forth. So, and it's an incredible association. Anybody that's a PGA golf professional is in it to grow the game and to inspire others, to get into the game. And it's such a great game.
Now, because you got that professional of the year, do you get any additional letters? Or no?
No,
okay.
No, but
no, that was part joke, part not, because I know every time sometimes when you get things, you can add some. So I wasn't sure if there was a thing that I was missing. I'm is there another?
Just having the honor. You get a nice plaque, and it's, to me, it's not about as much about the recognition as it is just to, show that what you're doing is making a difference, and there were some other perks that came with it though. Like PGA Magazine does a Golf Professional of the Year conference where they invite all the Golf Professional of the Year winners from the past year to come
Okay.
to Bandon Dunes for a week and do a lot of networking and education, and that was a trip of a lifetime getting to play Bandon Dunes. That was incredible.
What was that feeling like? Like, the very
Mm,
first hole, you are set up for your first swing. What's that feel
yes.
like?
Great. I had to just kind of take a deep breath because it's so beautiful, and just thinking about the owners of Bandon Dunes, how much they had to have the courage to build a golf course like that because it is in the middle of nowhere. It took me 15 hours one way to get there. I could go to Scotland quicker than I can to Bandon Dunes, but but it was worth it. It was worth every. Because I flew into Portland, had the 4.5 hour drive, and it was quite an effort to get there. But it's incredible, the beauty of the facility, and it's really golf in its purest form because you're walking. There's no cart paths, and there's nothing else there. You're there to play golf and have some fun with some guys and have some dinner, and that's all there is to do there. So
Yeah.
so but it's a special place.
So if you were to look at that group, so if you can see yourself as like a fly on the wall at,
Yeah,
you're hanging out with like all those accomplished people, what would
yeah.
you say are some of like the traits that you see or felt that that everybody had in common there?
I love that question because that's what I look forward to most for that trip. Bandon Dunes in itself is an incredible place to experience, but to be amongst my peers that have excelled in the industry, I went into it just try to be a sponge and learn as much as I can. And the trait that I would say is a common trait is just there's a great group of leaders in that room. They realize that it's not about themselves. One of the best leadership traits I've learned throughout my career, it's not about you. If you're going to make an impact and make a difference in someone's life, and then it has to be a selfless, point of view, and to try to, and in our industry, try to grow the game, and for at Chenal, our team worked together to come up with our why. We went through the Simon Sinek book together and
Good
spent a
choice.
lot
Good
of time.
choice.
Yes, that's a great one. Put a lot of time and effort into that, and you can come to Chenal or go to our website and start with there and see what we do. And you can take a tour and see how we do it. We have a lot of amenities and a special club, but we wanted to boil it down to why are we doing what we do, and we came up with creating memorable experiences. And our team has that as our core belief, and I saw that very evident with the group at Bandon Dunes. Is they're working hard every day to make a memorable experience, and it's great to be amongst guys that that they're going through the exact same thing that you're going through with the challenges that you face, and just be able to bounce ideas off each other. And it's a reminder that we're in this together. It's great that we can help each other.
Yeah. So you went to start with why. What
Yeah,
was, so kind of, similar setup to, the previous question is,
yeah,
looking back on the beginning of like the process, what was it like?
hmm yeah.
What do you tell another club going through the same things, trying to find their way a bit more? They got a little bit, whatever. They're just trying to find their way. What's the first step to developing and finding your why?
Yeah, great question. I think the first step is involving your team. It'd be easy as a leader to think that, oh, I know all the answers, and a lot of people, a lot of leaders make that mistake. I feel like they want to feel like they have to know all the answers and be the smartest person in the room. When in fact, it's really kind of the opposite. You have a team around you for a reason, and so I think the first step is to hear from your team and get their buy-in, because at the end of the day, your why is going to be your core belief, which means it's very important. It's going to drive every decision you make. And so if you're going to do that, then everybody needs to be bought into it. So I think the first step is getting everybody's participation, and because we had great discussions around it. We had things that maybe we agreed with, and maybe some things we had to talk through to make sure we're on the same page. But at the end of the day, yeah.
And when you say get everyone's like buy-in, so like take
Yeah.
me to, you and the executive team, you and the gang, like,
Yeah.
okay, we're going to start doing this. You start now telling
Yeah.
it to everybody.
Yeah.
What'd you start saying? How did you start getting the buy-in?
Yeah.
And what happened when you met with resistance? What was that like? And how did you overcome that? Like, is it one of those where were you in the position and did you, almost tell staff like, hey, buckle up or get out? Like what was, take me back to like that like moment, because I think that's like the hardest part, that everyone like, yeah, we're gonna do it, and then they start to try to implement it, and it gets difficult. So the fact that you guys went
Yes.
through it and structured it and did it, looking back,
Yes.
what was it like after that meeting? What was the process?
Yeah, thank you. That's a great question because I'm really big on culture. And at Chenal, I feel like we've been able to establish a culture that everybody wants to be a part of pretty quickly. And, the best definition I've heard of culture is it's what you celebrate and it's what you do not tolerate, is what it boils down to. It's going to be one of those two things. And I feel like that we've been able to establish a culture through working through our why, that we know what we stand for. At the end of the day, I want every one of our employees, if they were asked the question, what do you stand for? They would have the answer. And uh, we're reading a book with our team right now that's called "You Win in the Locker Room First" by John Gordon and Mike Smith, the NFL coach. Love John Gordon, all of this stuff. And that's one thing it talks about is knowing what you stand for, that if you can have a culture established that drives the decisions you make, whether they're strategic or on the fly, then you will enjoy sustained success at that point. And, it also says that culture eats strategy for breakfast, which I think is an interesting statement, because
Say that one
it's
more
important.
time.
Yeah, so culture eats strategy for breakfast. Because, strategy, as important as that is, your culture at the end of the day drives it, because, there's going to be times where the winds come and the storms come, the challenges come, and you need to be able to pivot, change your strategy. But at the end of the day, your core belief does not change, and that's your why. For us, as creating memorable experiences, we don't ever stray from that, no matter what's going on or comes our way. And I think that it's, once you know what you stand for, decisions are pretty easy to make, in my opinion. At the end of the day, we know what our core belief is, and that's what we stand for.
Some of the common themes that I've seen among what I would say good, solid leaders is
Mm-hmm.
adaptability, working in a bunch of
Yeah.
different positions,
Yes.
just kind of like pivoting, maneuvering, just kind of wherever something comes up, taking it and going, and just almost like trusting the process. It's just like knowing you're going to end up
Yes.
somewhere, and it might not be like the
Yes.
best place at the moment, but like, oh,
Right.
this opportunity came. Okay, why not? It can't hurt.
Right.
Like, I know it's going to build on what I already have and
Right.
gonna continue that. Did you always have that? Like, so looking back on your career now, did you
Mm-hmm.
always have that? Was it kind of just like, when did you realize maybe that was part of your process, and like just where to go? Like, was
Yeah.
it in your parents? Was it your grandparents? Did you have to learn it?
Yeah.
What was the
Yeah.
drive like?
Yeah, great. I love that question because early on in my career, I felt like I was really trying to prove myself, and, really trying to um, make a name and trying to get a title and things like that. And, I feel like it was at North River Yacht Club in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, where, and I was working with a guy named Butch Bird and then Mike Ryan, been great mentors of mine. And there, I really, even though we had great success there, I really honed in on that it's at the end of the day, we shouldn't be so focused on results versus the process. Because if you focus on more on the process, then you will end up having success at the end of the day. And when you get on the highs of the mountaintop, you don't think you've arrived. if you're able to focus on the process, you're still trying to get a little bit better every day. You don't allow complacency to set in, and and then when you face challenges, you don't let that affect you either. You're sticking with what you know works. A big believer in doing the right thing the right way with the right intentions, and always operating
Are
with high
you
character.
are you a Ryan Holiday fan?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I haven't.
So
I haven't read a lot of
he's
his
the
stuff.
big he's the big stoicism guy, and his book that just came out like a month or two ago is called The Right Thing Right Now. So you were just
Oh
doing that.
wow,
I'm like,
I like
did you
that.
read the book? Like, did you read the
Oh, I
book?
need
Come
to
on.
get it. Yes, love it. That's right up my alley. Yes.
Oh, gotcha. No,
So
that's
that
and then
because
so
that
now.
was yeah.
Oh, God, sorry.
No, just saying that was my first job where I had probably the most responsibility, and I was really working my way into where that next step was going to be a general manager role, and that's where I felt like I learned the most to be prepared for that when that opportunity came.
How old were you at this point?
Yeah, so at North River, still fairly young. I was just turned 30, and I was there for 3 years before I made the move as general manager. First true general manager job at Reunion Golf and Country Club in Madison, Mississippi. After that, I was 34 at that point.
And that's where I'm seeing too is like this like mid 30s ish point is a lot of people's
Yes,
like, all right, like it's it's where like
yes,
everything kind of all just comes together and it's like it's morphin' time.
absolutely.
It's time to roll.
Yes,
Um,
yes, and I can add one other thing to that if you don't mind. What I've learned through several mentors in my career, and I remember specifically at North River, is how the leaders, my mentors, they no matter what was going on, they made time for their team. And we talked a little bit about process, but as far as leadership in general, how they support their team and always made time. Because when I look back at it now, I think wow, my schedule fills up pretty quick, and but I make a point to make time for our team because of I know how important that is now. I learned that from mentors, but do I have time to tell a quick story about that too?
please, yeah.
So okay, so I didn't start playing golf till 13 because nobody in my immediate family played
Started
golf.
late.
Started late, exactly, especially today's age. So at the age of 14, only a year into playing the game, I got the bug pretty quick, and my family took a vacation to Destin, Florida for a beach vacation, and my dad found a golf camp at Florida State. It was a Nike golf camp. So they made the decision to drive me to Tallahassee from Destin, and then this is even crazier. A side note, thinking back on it, they actually dropped me off. I'm 14 years old, and I rode a Greyhound bus back home from Tallahassee, Florida, back to Tupelo, Mississippi, like a 12-hour bus ride. Thinking there's no way. I have three daughters now that are 13, 11. If there's no way I would drop them off in Tallahassee and ride a bus back home. But different day and age. But
Now parents just put their kids in Ubers. So
yeah, you're right. Yeah, exactly. Right, exactly. But so I went to a golf camp there, and the golf coach, for whatever reason, is kind of attached to me pretty quickly. His name was Ernie Lanford. He knew I was from Mississippi. I came a pretty long way to the camp, and we stayed pretty close throughout the camp. But we had some free time. He asked a few of us, "Hey, would y'all like to come see the new football stadium?" Florida State at that time had just built a new football stadium. This is back when Florida State was in their heyday, and Coach Bowden was coaching. And so we're going through the stadium. We walked by Coach Bowden's office, and our golf coach, the golf coach and the camp director at the time said, "Hey, I'm just going to see if I'm just going to knock on the door. Not sure if he is available or has time." And knocks on the door. He kind of cracks it open, peeps in, and we're kind of peeping, trying to see him. But we can all see that he's on the phone, and we're thinking, all right, we'll probably just keep walking. Well, next thing we know, Coach Bowden actually, as he's on the phone, waves us in, And so we all walk into his office, and quickly he gets off the phone. Like he said, "Hey, I've got something came up. I'm gonna call you back." And so he, thinking back on this, as busy as Coach Bowden was, especially in the heyday of Florida State, he made time for a few 14-year-olds, from that are going through a golf camp, and there's no telling who he was talking to. And we sat in his office, talked with him for about 30 minutes, and he made time
Stop
just
it.
to, yeah,
That's so
crazy,
cool.
just to get to know us. And that resonated with me, thinking back, especially later in life, as busy as he was, he took time. And I think people remember that, no matter what's going on, if you take time for somebody, that alone will resonate with them.
You just took my question. Damn it. No, because I was going to ask you like what was one of like your big takeaways, but I think that was just it. That is
Yeah.
such a cool
Yeah.
moment.
Yes.
Do you,
Yes.
do you still happen to know who those other kids were, or like what they're
Ooh,
doing in life?
I wish I did. I wish I did. We
Like
got
one
pretty
was
close that
Tiger, the
week.
other was no.
I know that would be amazing to tell. We got
No.
pretty close that week, but I don't remember.
I just didn't know if like
Yeah.
you happen to keep in touch with some of those guys and you're like, oh, remember that? You guys were all like drinking a beer
Oh
after a
man.
round.
Oh, I know that'd be awesome. mm, man.
That is a wonderful story. That is so cool.
Mm, it was
That is
amazing.
so cool.
Yes.
And there's almost a running theme in your background in
Mhm.
working for mom and pops
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
much smaller groups and organizations. And there have
Yeah.
been some member owned clubs, but the
Right.
clubs and situations that you've been in happen to be privately owned, but like also like
Right.
mom and pop. So not even like mega or
Yeah.
capital backed whatever. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
that's that. And does that happen? Do you think that happens to shape your leadership and maybe why you get some of the positions you are? Is just do some of those mom and pop operations still have that feel? Like, do they all have like the same feel? Can you talk to that
Yeah.
a little bit?
I think so. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's important to be able to lead an operation. Those that you are responsible for, operating. We're challenged and tasked to be good stewards of what we've been given, and at the end of the day, I still treat it like it's my own. Like what would I do if I own this and if it's my money, and I want to be fiscally responsible and always do the right thing. But it's important to also get the trust to be able to do that. So I think that these type of opportunities lend itself to that, is being able to earn. And I think trust is earned. I think that takes time to develop, but I think it's important in these type of operations to have that trust and to know that you're always going to have the best interests of the club and the owner and the members in mind, and to be responsible, fiscally and for the operation and for a team. We have 160 employees at Chenal, and big operation. 100,000 square foot clubhouse, and all the amenities you can think of at a club, and so it's a big responsibility and one I don't take lightly.
And probably ones that your team doesn't either now, and nor do your members.
That's right. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. We've been able to quickly establish a culture that is a team. When I started at Chenal, we have incredible team and incredible membership, but the department heads were operating a little bit in some silos, kind of doing their own thing, and that happens. That can happen at any club, but I feel like quickly been able to establish a common belief, common vision. We're all rowing in the same direction now, and working together, realizing that we're all in this together. If we succeed, we succeed together. If we fail, we fail together, and we'll learn from it. And that's one thing I tell our team a lot, is either we succeed or we learn. We're going to have a lot of successes, but we have a lot of learning opportunities too. And one thing I've always told our team is, we're going to make mistakes, but mistakes will not define us. How we respond to them and how we learn from them will.
Good stuff. That's real good stuff.
Awesome.
I got nothing. Do you enjoy working for privately owned over member owned? I mean, at this
Yeah,
point in your career, I'm sure you can, pick and choose
yeah,
stuff, and you do what makes you happy. But do you
yeah.
enjoy privately owned over member owned?
It's a good question. I think there's pros and cons of each one, and I do think with my leadership style and with the way my career has progressed and what I've been prepared for and the experience I have does lend itself to that. And we're developer owned here at Chenal, and that has worked out really well because, like in our situation, club's very healthy. We have over 1,200 members now, and we have 36 holes, two great golf courses here, and club's in a position where we can fund our capital. We don't do any assessments for our members, so when a member looks to join the club and we tell them you'll never be assessed, and that really resonates. And I like being able to tell a member that we don't charge a food minimum, because we're not forcing members to come to the club. We want it to be their decision to use the club, and that's our responsibility as the team and the staff here at Chenal, is provide reasons to use the club. So I think there's just a lot of really positive things about being a private owned club, and I've enjoyed being a part of that.
Gotcha. That's good.
Thank you, Denny. No, I really enjoyed getting to know you, Denny. I'm glad you're doing this podcast, man. I've enjoyed listening to episodes. I'm glad somebody like you's taking the time to do this, and there's a lot to learn from everybody. I'm going to be a lifelong learner. I've always said I'm never going to think I've ever figured it out, and the day I do that, I'll probably need to hang it up. So I want to continue to learn, and this platform has been great. So thank you for doing it.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much for coming on. I really, really appreciate this.
Thank you, Denny. Yeah, enjoyed meeting you, and thanks for the opportunity.
Hope you all enjoyed that episode. I know I did. If you're enjoying the content, like, share, subscribe. That's this episode. Until next time, catch you on the flippity flip.